The man accused of murdering Phylicia Barnes remains in custody this morning, awaiting his third trial. Michael Johnson is accused of killing the North Carolina teen while she was visiting family right here in Baltimore, and that was back in December of 2010. Now, Johnson was found guilty of second-degree murder in 2013, but a judge overturned that ruling, saying that prosecutors withheld information. His second trial ended in a mistrial just last week. His third trial is now set for March. As time passes, the question arises, how will this affect the case? We have attorney Kurt Nachtman with ENLawyers here to weigh in on all of this. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Time is a big issue here. It's already been almost 5 years since this happened. How do you think this weighs on the trial itself?
It definitely has a huge impact on the trial. In fact, as you're progressing in a case like this, and with the notoriety of the case like this, finding jurors who can remain unbiased is like finding a needle in a haystack.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that, though? As the attorney standing on either side, how do you begin this process of trying to go in with a clean slate when this has been all over Baltimore news since 2010?
Well, unfortunately, in a case like this, jury selection could take what normally would take an hour or two, or half a day or a day, may take upwards of a week, maybe even more.
Let's talk witnesses, too. With so much time passing, how credible are their accounts of what happened that day?
Time definitely causes problems for witnesses' memories. There's no doubt about it. The witnesses have made prior statements both to police and at the prior trials. The defense attorney's job is going to be to examine those statements for inconsistencies over the course of time.
And this is obviously the third trial. We've been through this before. He was convicted once, obviously overturned. As we go into a third process here, how likely is this that it would end here? Can this continue on any further?
Actually, it could continue on. The state has the opportunity to try a case over and over again until there's either a conviction or an acquittal for as long as they believe is appropriate.
How often does that happen? Is that typical?
It is typical, yes.
Yeah. And in the meantime, he will be in jail through that whole period?
His attorneys, after a period of time, could request a bail review. In a case like this, it's very unlikely. But if his attorneys, especially after a second or a third retrial,
right.
They certainly would have an opportunity to request a revisiting of his bail status.
Are we going to see a difference? We've sat through every day of this trial, the first time, of the second time. What are we going to see that's different in this trial? At this point, so many years later, will new information be brought up? Or is it really just how you're arguing the case?
That's actually a great question, because what's been apparent during the first two trials is that both trials were ended by issues related to the prosecution. So it's going to be the defense attorney's job to continue to investigate this case and to see if there's any new evidence that they'll be able to dig up during the course of the case. Not
an easy thing to do when so much time has passed, I'm sure.
Definitely not.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and weighing in on this case that has captured Baltimore's attention. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.